The terminal was buzzing with the usual rush when Maya stepped forward, holding her little boy's hand and trying to keep him calm after a long day. She expected nothing more than a routine boarding call, but everything shifted the moment the flight attendant snapped at her for asking a simple question. The tension rose fast, passengers growing quiet as the attendant's rude behavior became impossible to ignore. What happened next left everyone frozen, unsure if they had really seen what they thought they saw. Maya stood there, stunned, trying to protect her child while keeping her dignity intact. Whispers spread through the crowd, phone slowly lifting, and the air tightened with the kind of silence that comes before a storm. No one knew her full story. No one knew who she was married to. And the flight attendant had no idea that her actions were about to set off a chain of events far bigger than a scene at the gate. Because just minutes later, footsteps echoed across the terminal, calm, firm, and unmistakably purposeful. The CEO she was married to had arrived, and he had heard everything. But what he would do next, no one could have predicted. The crowd slowly shifted as Maya's husband walked toward her, his expression controlled but unreadable. People around them began whispering, realizing he wasn't just any man, he was someone with influence, someone whose presence instantly changed the energy in the terminal. But before he reached Maya, the airline staff exchanged nervous looks, unsure of what they had triggered. The flight attendant who had caused the scene stood stiff, trying to look composed, though her eyes kept darting away. Maya gently rested her hand on her son's shoulder, trying to steady her breathing. She wasn't the type who liked attention, and she definitely never expected her private life to mix with the chaos of a crowded airport. But moments like this had a way of revealing people's true colors, and the room felt filled with judgment, questions, and curiosity. Her husband finally stopped beside her, quietly asking what had happened. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't confront anyone. His calmness only added to the mystery, making everyone wonder what he was thinking. The airline manager rushed over, clearly sensing something was wrong, trying to understand the situation before it escalated. But as her husband glanced at the staff, it became clear he wasn't here just to talk. Something else was coming, something no one around them was prepared for. The terminal grew strangely quiet as the airline manager led Maya, her husband, and the flight attendant toward a small office near the gate. Passengers watched with curiosity, wondering how a simple misunderstanding had turned into something that felt much bigger. Inside the office, the air felt heavier, like everyone was choosing their words carefully. The manager tried to piece together what happened, but the flight attendant kept changing small details, avoiding eye contact, hoping her earlier actions wouldn't fully surface. Maya sat close to her son, brushing his hair back gently. She could feel her husband's calm stare fixed on the staff, not in anger, but in a way that made people shift uncomfortably. He asked quiet questions, direct, precise questions that made the manager realize this wasn't something they could handle with a quick apology. The keywords customer safety, professional conduct, and passenger rights kept slipping into the conversation, adding pressure to every moment. Meanwhile, outside the office, a few passengers who witnessed everything were talking to another supervisor, creating a separate stream of tension. Different perspectives began forming, some defending what they saw, others insisting the airline should take responsibility. The story was spreading fast, and with every passing minute, more eyes were turning toward the situation. Maya's husband leaned forward slightly, his voice still steady, but carrying a weight that hinted something bigger was unfolding, something the airline wasn't prepared to face. The office felt smaller now, almost suffocating, as the tension between Maya's husband and the flight attendant reached a boiling point. Every word spoken seemed to hang in the air, magnified by the uncertainty of what might happen next. The manager fidgeted with papers, clearly overwhelmed, while the flight attendant's confident facade was beginning to crack. Her earlier bravado had evaporated in the presence of someone who clearly wielded power, someone who could make things happen far beyond this terminal. Maya gripped her son's hand tightly, her knuckles white, feeling the weight of the moment. She could sense the staff's nerves escalating, as if everyone knew the story was about to explode in a way that couldn't be ignored. Outside the office, whispers were growing louder, passengers were speculating, phones quietly recording, and the tension of the moment spreading through the gate like wildfire. Her husband's eyes met hers for a brief second, a silent promise that he would handle it, but then he turned back, his calm demeanor giving way to something sharper. The words he chose, deliberate and pointed, made the flight attendant shift uncomfortably, her cheeks flushing as she struggled to maintain control. The terminal outside was waiting, the passengers holding their breath, the staff on edge, and Maya's heart racing, knowing that whatever was coming next would change everything. Every glance, every pause, every whispered word built toward the moment no one there would ever forget. Just as the tension seemed almost unbearable, a new twist hit the office like a thunderclap. The airline manager's phone buzzed insistently, and when he glanced at the screen, his expression froze. Outside, a senior airline executive had arrived unexpectedly, demanding immediate answers, and now the stakes had escalated far beyond a gate dispute. The flight attendant, already on edge, realized this wasn't just about her behavior anymore. The presence of corporate leadership meant consequences could ripple through her career. Maya's husband didn't flinch. He remained calm, but the intensity in his gaze sharpened, showing he had anticipated this kind of escalation. He leaned slightly closer to the manager, asking pointed questions about company policies, passenger rights, and accountability. Each word seemed to tighten the room, making the flight attendant shrink back further, aware that the situation was spinning completely out of her control. Meanwhile, whispers among the passengers outside grew louder, phones lifted, recordings spreading across social media even as the drama unfolded in real time. Everyone felt the weight of what had started as a simple confrontation, now spiraling into something far bigger, a public and personal reckoning. Maya clutched her son's hand tighter, her heart racing, knowing that what was about to happen next could completely change their lives. The tension, the stakes, and the suspense had reached a point where one wrong move could ignite a storm no one would forget. The office was tense, every eye on Maya's husband as he finally spoke with quiet authority. He didn't shout or demand apologies, he calmly outlined what had happened, detailing the flight attendant's behavior, the impact on his wife and son, and the broader consequences for the airline's reputation. His words were precise, carrying weight that made even the senior executive lean forward, listening intently. The flight attendant tried to explain herself, but the calm confidence in Maya's husband left no room for deflection.